Okay, what I'm going to do soon is I'll mute everyone just so we don't have any noise in the background if people are multitasking or drop something. Also, one note about the presentation: Nathan has a whole bunch of videos for us for the different tools. Unfortunately, for Big Blue Button, we can't host the videos inside of it. So what we're going to do is I'll be posting the links to the videos in the chat box. So whenever he comes to each one, look for the link, and it should take you there, and you can watch it in almost the same time as everyone. And Nathan will be talking about these videos as he's watching them.
Yeah, just a note with that. So don't be alarmed if you don't hear anything on the video. It's actually just video only. We took out the audio, so I'll just talk over top of it. I'll be the sound.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's no audio on the video. Okay, it's 10 o'clock here. We'll just slowly get started. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We are English Online. We're based in Winnipeg. Here's a shot of downtown Winnipeg this morning. Right at Portage in Maine, so you can see what you're missing. Just beyond here is the Forks, and some of we're located in the Exchange District, the historical part of Winnipeg. So just to give you a sense of what's happening around us and at the center of the country. Today we have two great presenters, Nathan Hall and Jennifer McDonald, who are both going to be talking about various tools, digital tools for language learning in the classroom, some practical ideas, some very good ideas. Setting up Nathan's presentation here. We'll go ahead and mute everyone, and I'll pass over the presentation rights to Nathan. And thank you very much for being here, Nathan. And you should have it now.
Right. So we'll just get started, I guess, then. Hey, Glenn, would you just do that? Welcome, everybody. I have to say that I wasn't actually thinking about doing a webinar not that long ago, and Glenn came and approached me about it, and I thought, oh, here comes Tussle Ontario is coming up next week, and all this stuff, and I wasn't sure, but I'm really glad I did say yes, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with you over the next hour here, talking about some theory-based and also practical applications of technology in the classroom. So you can see my class there just from a couple of weeks ago, studiously working away on the laptops there. Today we want to go over a few different things. So we'll look back at the past. We'll just see where we've come from in regards to technology in the classroom. And then we'll reflect on the present and look at some tools that we can possibly use in the classroom and apply that theory that I was just talking about to the tools and authentic situations. And then we can, throughout it, what we'll do is we'll take questions. So the idea will be that I'll present a tool, show you a video about it, and then afterwards, feel free to post some questions about that on the chat, and then I'll try and address those as we go along. So first, to look back at where we have come from. So where the future was 20 to 50 years ago, even further back maybe. I remember when I was in school, we had movie and film strip projectors. One of the cool things about that was that we could actually see something visually. I remember watching some of these films about things like water and science class and so forth, and it was really interesting, and it was really engaging for me to be able to see that. And part of that also was be able to, there was some creation. I remember my mom was a kindergarten teacher, and she also created some film strips using her half-frame camera. And so she would take photos and then get it developed, and then later on put that into a film strip. We would edit it together and put it together. And it was quite the process. It was really arduous and long, but it did give some creativity to it and some flexibility to that. Of course, in most classrooms, you had overhead and opaque projectors to project what was either on a film strip transparency or was on an object itself, like you could put a piece of paper down. I remember you had to really dim the rooms, though, in order to make that happen. Of course, we had audio players and recorders. For those who remember listening labs, with all those recorders and those big headphones, and you're all sat in those little booths. Most of that, though, if we can take a look at it, really was controlled by the teacher. Everything was revolving around what the teacher was wanting to say to the students. So it was very much teacher-centered, and access was very limited for the students outside of the classroom. There might be the opportunity to take a cassette home, although the chances of it getting wrecked or recorded over or something were too high, so often we didn't do that. It was very individual. You didn't have the chance to be able to do much group work with that. Very much focused on the front of the class. Either it was done as a class watching the film or listening individually on the audio cassette. Not much of it was done in pairs, groups, or anything like that. In other words, it was quite passive, and really what you were doing is you were consuming the information, much like you would a library, going in, grabbing the information, leaving. And that really, if you think about it, that's really where the internet started off as well, too. It was much more of that. There weren't a lot of availability to create, but we've come a long ways. And now we're focusing on collaboration. And the focus is on student use and creation. So we've moved it away from the teacher, and now we've turned it back over to the student. And we're allowing them to make some of the content that we're consuming. The interaction is quite active. We've moved from the passive to the active form. We've gone from the library, where we're just consuming it, to being creators. The students are being creators. The teachers are being creators. There's much more authentic material being used. Students have access outside of the classroom, and so they can actually watch a video at home, or listen to an audio, or read something. Even chatting, all these type of things can be allowed now with the certain uses of technology that we have. So I have a couple quotes here. One is from Harrison. It's a book that is from e-learning, that one is Technology in the 21st Century, talking about, Harrison's actually from, I believe from BC, from SFU. And she has this: knowledge is viewed as dynamic and evolving, not static and finite. And that's really what we want to focus on today. And technology is both a learning tool and a learning environment. And so we want to move on into our first kind of tool. And I've divided it up into different things. So I have the first section will all be reading and writing tools, things that you can use for from reading and writing combined, or individually, but what I'm trying to do is, again, this creation, this collaboration, working together. So, first thing we're going to look at is something called croakit Personal. And so again, with each of these, there's going to be a video. So Glenn will post the video here. He'll post the link for you. And what we'll do is, we'll click on those links, and then I'll just start us all off at the same time. So if you want to, link is up now. So if you want to click on the link and go to the video, and then what I'll do is, when I say start, we'll start the video together, just so we all have a chance to see it kind of in real time. So croakit Personal, before I start here, is basically just a host for documents, and but it allows for a lot more interaction with the material. So if you've got the video up, let's just start it now. So when you go to croakit Personal, it's personal.croakit.com. What it is you just go in, there's a big, huge button in the middle. It says Upload Document. And then you can choose a document from your library. So once you've chosen that, it will upload and it will convert it to their site. Once it views like this, you can then scroll and read through it just like you would a PDF viewer on your own computer. But this one's on the cloud. So this one allows me to interact with it either by myself, or I can connect with other people. So you can grab a comment tool, and you can click on an area, type in a comment, and you can notice underneath the comment that there's a reply and a delete, so you can delete that. You can also, once you've created a comment, you can again go on to the next one and create another one. But where this goes from being very passive, me doing something as a teacher, posting something, and then having the students look at it. What I can also do is I can now share this document and have them be able to comment and interact with it. So there are some other tools up there. There's a highlight tool. If I wanted to highlight a word, or I can actually highlight a whole section if I want to as well. There's different colors of highlight tools. I think there's 4 there. Yeah, there's 4. Yellow, orange, blue, and green. And so you can actually change things as you would like. There are other tools like drawing a tool where you can actually draw right on. So dare with a mouse. I'm not very good with drawing, so I tend to stay away from that one. The text tool, you can choose different colors for your text. So you just click anywhere and then start typing. And you can actually add your notes directly to the document. And another tool that you can also use as well too is the strikeout tool. So for example, if a student had sent you a document, say something that they've created, and you wanted to add your information to it, you can actually double click on words and it will cross out that word. Of course, you can zoom and go through by pages as well too. But once you've done all of that, you just hit the share button in the top right. It'll provide you with a link, and you'll notice there's a little button underneath that says allow others to add comments to the document. You can take that off if you want, if you're just providing feedback, but I usually leave it on. There is an embed function. You can embed it into a blog or into any website. The email function I tend to stay away from. I tend to grab the link and I just put and email it for them. So a great tool for lots of different things. We'll get some ideas from you. So you can actually close that and go back to the main window for the English Online Conference Room. And at this point here, after each of these tools, I'll just talk about some of the ideas of where I've used it, but I would also ask that you would maybe post some ideas of yours from your own, either from your own experience or what you've seen, maybe some ideas sprang to mind. And you can just post that in the chat function. Any questions there or comments, please feel free. One of the things, so some of the things that I've done very simply, it's also a great place for just hosting a document if I want to share a document on Twitter or Facebook or anything like that. And why I like it over sharing directly, just giving the students a document. I think it's great for just interacting with it. And yeah, Glenn made the comment about Jennifer talking about digital note-taking in the second webinar. So I don't want to take away too much from that because Jennifer will have a chance to be able to talk more about that. But there are some really good functions to this. Mostly for myself, it's feedback. I give a lot of feedback for student writing. So students will create something, a Word document or whatever. I'll upload it there. I can add my little comments and I can send it back to them and they can make comments back. The beautiful thing about Croakit Personal is it is registration free. Students or teachers do not need to register to use it. All you have to do is just click on the upload document and go on. So any other questions out there so far? So far, if you do, just feel free as we're going along here just to post them in the chat function. Good question, Ryan. She asked about can you convert it to a PDF after? Actually, I don't believe so. I could be wrong on that. Great question. Something I'll have to take a look at. Typically, I just keep the links. I don't really keep hard copies of it afterwards, but that's a really good point. I know that Croakit also has a paid-for version for enterprise, and they might have more functionality with that. Yeah, good point. Portfolios. That's a really, really good point. Yeah, the copy and pasting into Word and then into PDF. Yes, it's possible. I mean, you can also do screenshots, whatever, that type of thing. So there are some possibilities to work around, I suppose, but it would be great if we could just download it after all. Don't believe so, though. So, all right. We'll move on to the next one. So, next one is TitanPad, and I've talked about TitanPad in some of my presentations before, so those who've been in it, like Ryan, my apologies. But why I bring up the tools I am is because there might be other options like Google Docs or whatever, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to provide you with some tools where either students don't have to register at all, or there's limited registration. Either the teacher only has to register or the students only have to give limited information. So TitanPad is an example of that. Think of it like if anybody has used Google Docs, where you create a Word, basically a word processing or text edit online. TitanPad does that, but allows you for real-time editing. So what that means by that is that you can actually type, and at the same time, someone else can type at the same time. We can see each other's things, information being posted at the exact same time. So what we'll do again is I'll just have Glenn post the link for TitanPad, then click on that. So it's posted there. Click on that. We'll go to the video now. Again, I'll just wait a little bit while everybody gets on. I'll explain a little bit more. TitanPad basically was purchased by Google a number of years ago. Actually, not TitanPad, but EtherPad. And EtherPad was what Google Docs became with this real-time collaboration, with allowing multiple people to edit a document at the same time. So Google took what they wanted out of EtherPad and then open-sourced EtherPad. And so EtherPad was then became an organization that allowed other people to take it and tweak it and change it. And TitanPad is one of those implementations. It's a cloud-based, text-based editor. Really very simplistic, but there's a lot of stuff that can be used for it. So again, if you've got the video up, we're just going to click now to start. And so TitanPad allows two options. One is the big blue button here where it says Create Public Pad. And you just click on that. You don't have to sign up or anything. You just click on it, and instantly it creates a public pad. Now, public pads are open to anybody. They have a really weird name to the end of it. So not likely someone's just going to stumble on the site, but it isn't as private as what you would hope it to be with, say, a password-protected page. You can just jump in and start typing. And if you shared that link with someone else, they could be typing at the same time. You'll notice that the typing that's being done right now is with a yellow kind of highlight at the same time. You can turn off the colors. There's colors. You can turn them on or off, change the colors, do that type of stuff. You do have bold, italic, underline, and strike through. You have bullet points. There is a chat function on the right side, but I'm going to go back here, and then you just notice it says get your own private space. And this is where I would focus on. What you do is you create a private space by typing in the name of your site. It will create a URL based on the name that you give it. So this one was webinar.titanpad.com. And then you would have to sign up with your full name and email. And once that's done, it creates a team site. Now, once that's done, it allows you to be able to create different documents for your students. And those can all be password protected. And students don't have to have an account to be able to do anything. They just go to the page, type in the password, and instantly they're in. So I've actually used it for other functions as well. Like one of the things I've done is I've actually created quizzes where I put the information all on a TitanPad, or the link on a TitanPad. And I'll create a quiz, an online quiz using Google Forms or whatever, it doesn't matter. But I don't give them the link directly. I password protect it. And then when I want to start the quiz, I just say, here's your password, and they all can go onto the link, type in the password, and off they go. So it's just a quick way of them being able to lock out a link, for example. So we're going to close that video off. And I'd like to open it up to some questions. So if you have any ideas about what you could do with a collaborative document, please post it. If you have any questions, I'll take that as well. I'll share some of the things that I've used it for, and then you can kind of maybe it'll spark some ideas. I've used it for a homework page. It's kind of like my very bare bones e-portfolio for my students. It is the place where they can type in all sorts of things, from answering questions from the textbook if they wanted to, or they can do their writing in there, whatever. Got some good ideas here. Ryan had posted about collaborating and planning their assessment. That's great. So outside of the classroom, you have teacher to teacher, proofreading race. That's awesome. That's a good one. Allowing students to be able to have one and then to quickly have to edit as soon as possible. Good points. Really, really good points. I've had students work in groups, and they put their information out on a TitanPad together. They can even be on their own computers, but they're still working in groups. So because they can all log into the same TitanPad, they all can be typing at the same time. So lots of stuff there. I've had students say whenever they do anything with the class, I just say post it on your personal TitanPad page. Then they all just share it there. So I just know I'm at the front, and I can actually view any of the TitanPad ones. I just have a link of all of the different links for all the different TitanPads in the classroom for each of the students. And I just click on the one that I want to view at the time. So if the students are working with someone, I just want to see where they're at. I don't have to wander behind them and hover over them. I can actually just click on the link and see what they're doing. It's a very non-intrusive way of just checking and seeing how students are doing. I can also make comments at any time on the chat on the side. The one thing we'll note, one of the teachers have brought up in one of my seminars before, was the chat cannot be erased. You can delete anything within the TitanPad, but the chat always remains there. So I often give feedback on the chat function. That way they can actually make the changes. Like if they do a writing assignment in there, I'll make the comments in the chat so that they go back and have to find the mistakes themselves. So I might say, hey, can you check you have a couple of tenses wrong in the first paragraph. Can you just check and see what's going on there? Yeah, that's a good point, Glenn. I can actually see how they're doing stuff, composing things at the same time. So if they're creating, I can actually see and I can actually see also another thing too. You can also, much like a wiki, you can actually scroll back and see how things have been created. And you'll see if stuff big chunks get copy and pasted in. And that's really helpful for seeing if somebody's done something from Wikipedia, for example, copy and pasted directly in. So I can see if they're actually typing it in or if they're copying and pasting it. So I'm not trying to spy on them, but it's just a way of just kind of making sure that they are on task. So. Any other questions with TitanPad before we move on? Thoughts? Share your ideas. You're welcome. If not, we'll move on to the next one. Clunic. Clunic is a unique little free, no registration needed type of tool. It comes from Germany. I don't actually know the pronunciation. I call it Clunic. It could be Clinic. I have no idea. Glenn and I were talking about this yesterday. But basically what it is think of it kind of like a mini Facebook post or forum post or something like that, where you can post a question or a topic, and then you can start a discussion based off of that. And so again, what I will do is I'll have Glenn post the video for that. George Clooney, haha, nice. We'll just get the link up. We'll click on the link, go to the video. And again, while everybody's getting that loaded up, I'll just talk about it a little bit. What I can do is I can use Clunic for having discussion questions, feedback, all that type of thing. Clunic basically is you go in, you type a question, and you're on your way. So once we get everyone up here, what we'll do is we will start the video now. And it's just clunic.com. And then what you do when you get there is it just looks just like this. You type in your question. You have a 160 character limit. You can see it count down in the right-hand corner there. And so you type in your question, in this case, hit start, and post the question. You now have a link at the top that you can share with other people. You can also share it on Facebook or Twitter. But what's going to happen now is anything that's typed in underneath, you would click on submit, and it will ask for a name. They can put in an alias if they wanted to. It doesn't matter. And they have to choose an icon. They only give you a limit of 5, but it changes it all the time. Hit save. And then you'll notice there's a little number beside the comment. And if you press the down arrow or the up arrow, you'll get a +1 or a -1. So people can actually vote on the comment. So if you asked a question and somebody really liked it, they can say yes or no. So you can actually say, for example, if you're trying to choose something, maybe a place to go for a field trip or something like that, they can vote on it. They can put in their ideas and people can vote on it. And you can actually order it by date or by voting. Once somebody has posted a comment, a person can comment on that comment. It's called nested comments. And so we do have these nested comments that allow it to have a discussion even under each of those comments. And all you have to do, literally, is just take the web address from the top and share it with other people. And they can then, or at the bottom, you have the link at the bottom, you hit copy. And then you can just post that somewhere. So when I post it in TitanPad, for example, my students can then click on it. And Glenn had the comment about How is this different than TitanPad? One of the things is it's much more interactive. With the nested comments, it allows for discussions to go off of the discussion comments. And it doesn't get so messy. You don't have people deleting things and accidentally taking out someone else's comments. So we'll just close the video, back to the discussion. And I notice that you have a comment here already about post-reading listening discussions. I think that that's a great point. You actually have a, what did you think of the listening, or what did so-and-so, you could have a character or something from it, what do you think this person should have done, and then they could actually post their comments. That's a really good point, Margarita. It's simple. There's not a lot of functions, but the thing about it is, what I'm trying to do with a lot of these tools is find something that is multi-purpose. Brainstorming, good idea. That's a good one. Really, you can brainstorm a few ideas, and they can vote on those ideas of whether they want to move them up or down. Yes, it is kind of like coming to a consensus, finding a consensus and moving along. So, yeah, it's simple, it's easy. I haven't seen any ads on it. That's another thing I try to avoid is things with advertisements. So I find it very simplistic, easy to use, no registration. Students just click on the link, and they already know how to use Facebook and so forth, for most part. Some students don't, but they get the idea pretty quickly once they see what other people are doing. It is a very clean interface. It's very clean and easy to use, and it is very familiar for students. It does look a lot like Facebook. So I don't use it as much anymore. I use Edmodo in my class, and Edmodo often serves the same function for most of it, except for the nested comments, which I do like, and the voting. So, any other comments or questions there? Yes, Ryan, I know you're at Edmodo. For another webinar sometime. I'll have to do an Edmodo webinar sometime. All right, we'll move on to the next slide. Again, another reading and writing one, Easy Prompter. So Easy Prompter is one of those funny things that I didn't actually think I would use very much in my class. It is actually something I use probably, I would say, once every couple weeks or so in my class. It's very simple. Basically, it's a teleprompter online, and that's all it is. So what I would say is this. Let's go to the video. Let's have Glenn post. I'll just show you what I mean by this. So I'll have Glenn post the link, give you an idea of how I would use something like this. There's the link. We'll just... Again, what is a teleprompter? Basically, it's a scrolling text. Whatever text you put in there, it'll scroll at different sizes of text and at different speeds. It's supposed to be used for presentation, so you'd have it on your screen, so while you're giving a presentation, it scrolls it across, and so it's your rolling notes. So if everyone's on, let's just press play. And basically, all it is, you go to easyprompter.com. There's a big box that's open in the middle there, and what you need is some text. So I'm just going to go to the Times in Plain English. It's an excellent website for reading. It just takes the New York Times and puts it in a simpler English format. So I'm going to copy the text from that. I want my students to read it, but I don't want them to spend too much time digging in their dictionaries for stuff. So I paste it in there, and all I do is hit Start Prompt. And then at the bottom of the screen, you'll have these numbers. The middle numbers, which I just corrected there, between -2, or 2, I should say, is the speed. But you can also change the text size as well, too. You have that 75 that's in there. And so after you press play, you can make your adjustment for speed if you need be. You can adjust this down to 1 there. That's as slow as it goes. You can change the size of the text, so it actually, again, more or less text. So if you have somebody who's at a lower level, you would just choose a much bigger text, slower speed. But you can actually add italics to words as well. So if you highlight a word or italicize a word, one of the things it will do is the italics will show up as obviously like as a word next to there, showing in italics. But if you are news, I have it as highlighted, so you can see that there's a highlighted word there. So you can actually take keywords and highlight them as well too. So it's not really much to look at. It's just a rolling screen. That's going to close off the video, and I'll take questions and stuff at this point. But I'll tell you what I use it for. One of the things I'm trying to get my students to do is to get away from being stuck on using their dictionary whenever they can stop at each word. So what I do is I take a text, a short text usually, and I'll post it on there, and I'll put it up on the screen, and I'll just press play, and the students have to read through it. And I might give them questions before or discussions, questions after, but what I'll do is often I will do it twice, once at a slower speed, and then the second time faster, but I'm having them, again, using it for scanning for certain pieces of information. So I'll post my questions afterwards that cause them to look for more comprehension stuff. Yeah, and I've seen people use this in different forms and stuff. Easy Prompter, one thing I didn't note in there is it does actually have, hard to see on my little screen here, but it says portable version. There is actually, while this is an online version, they do have a downloadable version that you can put on a USB drive, which then you can just actually walk into any computer, put it in. You don't even have to have internet access, and you can then use it right there. So really, really simple. Nothing terribly spectacular about it, but it is something that I am trying to use a little bit more for teaching my students to increase their reading speed. So we've actually started doing it regularly, where I started off at a lower speed, but now I'm moving them up to faster speeds and smaller text, so they have to skim more and just read. Have any other ideas there? I mean, it is fairly limited, but I use it quite a bit. It is something I do use quite often in my classroom. Questions there? Any ideas? Any thoughts? Right. We'll on to the next one then. Storyboard. So if you haven't used Storyboard before, you're going to be introduced to what I think is one of the most beautiful sites for writing on the internet. It's just great. It's very visual. Students absolutely love it. You'll be surprised at the students that love using it, because you think that maybe it's just for kids or whatever, but it is fabulous. So we have the video link here. Just click on the link, and once everyone's loaded up, we'll get started. But Storyboard is a place where you can create visual books for free. Now, it does require registration, teacher registration. You can create a class, and then the students just get a code. So again, without the students having to get lots of information. Well, I'll take you through that. This one's a little bit longer video, so start it now. And it's just storyboard.com. And there is a sign up for free for teachers or students or whatever. And there are there's actually a place here also for artists to post artwork. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you I've already created a site, so I'm just going to sign in. I won't take you through all that, but you can see there's a class site. We're going to hit Explore. Explore is just a chance to be able to see some of the stories that are already there. I wanted to show you what some of them are doing. So I chose this stories for Gia, and it's just pictures with text, but the pictures are incredible artwork that has been created by various artists, and you can see that there's been a mix of different types of artwork try and mix up to create a story. So instead of starting from a story and looking from the artwork, oftentimes what I've had students is they'll look for artwork first and then create a story based off of it. So maybe if you click, for example, on the artwork here, we've got a series of ones about raccoons working in the woods. See all of the ones that are related. Often artists will create images that are related. And so you can have the students go through and create a story based on a set of artwork, or they can find their own artwork, whatever. The variety of the type of artwork that's there is amazing. Some of it is watercolor type, some of it's cartoon type, some of it's more cultural type from different countries and so forth. So we're going to create a story. And with your story, you have, again, the images that seem related to it. What you can do is you can change a cover, and change how you want your cover to be. Some of these, you'll notice I just clicked on one that was a member preview only. It doesn't allow me to actually edit it because it is a premium style. This would be one you would have to pay for, so I can't drag anything on or do anything with it right now. But you can actually change your cover to whatever you would like it to be. Drag in images, but again, there's a premium one, so it won't let me work with it. So we'll go back and we'll just use the classic style. It's like this. In that, I You can just dump in different artwork. I'm going to actually go in and actually with this one change my pages as well too. You just click on the right hand side and then first page, and you have a text box, and you can actually within there you can type your text. You can click a new page, drag in a new image, create a new page. Once this is done, it creates a storybook that is flip style book. It's if you pay, you can allow for more embedding, but you can also just host the link on Storyboard, and then you just give the link to someone. They can read your story on Storyboard. It's amazing what the students have come up with. It's incredible the type of work that they've been able to create. So let's just close the video off here. Back to us. If you've used Storyboard or you have some ideas for it, please post that. Basically, it is a creative writing tool, and it's visually incredible. And can students work collaboratively? In this case, no, but what I have done is I've had my students sit side by side. I'm one of those people that I tend to try and not have my students work too much individually on a computer. I do have put them in pairs, or if they're lower level, in threes, so that they're working on it as a group all the time. So a reason for that is I'll put students together who maybe one is more computer savvy than another, so they can help each other. So again, while it's not collaborative in the way that I would want them to, it does allow for students to be the creative part, and then share that with others. And so I look at it as, one, it is a creative part. It allows the students to write, but it's also reading. So if I go back and I can actually have the students maybe give feedback on something, and then students can then go back and edit it, and then what they can do at that point is then share it with the other students, and then we have a variety of stories that the students can use. So really stunning website. If you have a premium account, you can't with a free one. So uploading your own pictures and stuff like that, no. It is based off of only the artwork that's there, unfortunately. You can print the book, but you have to pay for it. So again, here we've gone away from the free part. But if there is something that is done well, you can actually create a printed book based off of it. Yeah. In fact, that's where they make a lot of their money, is artists posting their stuff and selling their artwork through there. Also, they sell books as well too. They sell the premium accounts and then the books as well. So obviously, again, there's the business model behind that. But if a school wanted to get behind that and pay for an account, they can get school accounts and so forth. That would allow for a lot more classes to be using it. It could be used in a lab, for example. And then you could also print off the books and use it as well. So just showing you with the creativity of what can be done out there. Yeah, that's a great idea. In fact, I had an idea about students working with international students before, and then creating books and sending it back to their families in different countries and stuff. So that's a great idea, really. Excellent idea. Quite like that. In fact, you could probably even write to Storyboard and tell them you're doing it as some sort of work with immigrants and so forth, and maybe they would allow for discount or something like that. You have to see what Storyboard would do. They seem to be a really well thought out company, and so I wouldn't be surprised. The one thing I would mention as well too, this is mobile ready. Students can actually use it on their iPhones, iPads, other devices like that, Android. So it's great. It's really, really well done. Let's go to the next one here. I wanted to talk about VideoAnt. VideoAnt is something I use, again, a lot. Since they changed, when they had it, the old way they did it, they just really recently just revamped their website. The old way was clunky and terrible, and I walked away from it. But when they emailed to let me know they'd updated it, and it's great now, absolutely great. So let's just click on the video link, and we'll go there. So once everybody's kind of up, VideoAnt basically takes any video, but mostly YouTube videos, if you want to take it that way, and allows you to be able to add annotations to the YouTube video without an account. So once you've got a number of people here, I'm just going to start the video now. This will be our longest video, but basically VideoAnt is a long email address, and it's hosted by Michigan University. So you can sign in as a guest with your email address. You don't have to give a real email address. I gave a fake one there, and it worked just fine. And then once you've done that, you just say new ant. And what you do is you take a YouTube video. So I already had found one here, and I copy the web address from that, and I paste it into the video ant box, URL box there, and I say load video. And what it will do now is it'll create, I can actually change the title here as well too, but it creates basically an annotation spot here for video. So I can start the video, or I can add an annotation. So I'm going to add an annotation to start, and I just click on add an annotation. I hit subject, and I can add content if I want to, but I'm just going to put here introduction to AFL. And then I'm going to hit save here. And then I'm going to press play. And then it goes along and it starts to play the video. And then when it gets to a part that you want to add an annotation, you just click on add an annotation. And when it does that, it pauses the video and it puts the box up. And so then I can actually add a subject and content again. Now, one of the things that you can do with this is you can actually add comments to the comments as well. So as soon as you hit add comment, it starts playing again. You can go along, and once it gets to another part of the video, you can then again add an annotation. You'll notice there's a big, at the top, there's a play and pause button, and then it gives you an indicator of how long the video is, where we're at in the video, and it also shows you where the annotations are. And so again, I can add content. And what this does, once this, you get the annotations that you want on there, you can actually save it, all is done. When you have the annotations, all the annotations that you want on a video, you can actually skip to a section of the video just by clicking on one of the annotations. You can also skip to any part of the video by just using the bar at the top. So essentially what you can do is you can use this as bookmarking as well too. And that's what I'm using it as on this video right now. It's just a bookmarking. It allows me to then set points on a video so I can skip to that part without having to search for it or put down the time or anything like that. I can pause the video up there, pause the video in the video. You can also delete comments. You can add your comments to a comment. You can also share and export your video. You can embed it into a website. So there's a lot of different functions for this. This is also collaborative. You can share this with other people and allow them to make comments within annotations. So students could actually do the comments and you could add your comments below it. Or you could flip it and you could put questions at certain parts of the video and they have to listen for the answers within each of those sections. There's all sorts of things you could do with this. There's options galore with this. Mostly what I've been using it for, oh yeah, you can also set this as public or private, too. But anybody who has the link can either annotate using the annotate URL or just view it using the video URL, and there's your embed code. So again, I use it mostly as a bookmarking tool for my YouTube videos. I can use YouTube, within YouTube I can add annotations or I can add bookmarks, but where this is different is I can have students add comments within the comments, and they can also add their own annotations. Again, taking it away from me and giving it back over to the students so that it is theirs. It's their tool. So we're just going to close that video off, and I'd like to get some ideas from you. Yeah, this is great for watching webinar recordings. Yes, of course, absolutely. You can actually add comments to the webinar or the TED Talks as well too. Anybody have any thoughts or comments on that? Please put them in the chat function. That'd be great. Yeah, teacher training or PD for sure, absolutely. I can think of lots of things right like that. You can use like a dictation. Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. So you can even have them move to a certain point and then comment underneath what they heard. Great, absolutely. Dictation tool, and then use it like that. That'd be great. Again, YouTube actually has certain tools like this already, but this just takes it a bit further, quite a bit further actually. And again, it's hosted by University of Minnesota. It's free, and the registration, you can, like I said, sign up as a guest with a fake email address. I do it all the time. That email I typed, there's not a real email address, and you have to create an account for me. So don't have to. And the students can just, you could just tell your students to just, yes, much less of the commenting from YouTube trolls. No comment about that for sure. Body language, great idea. Absolutely. Comment about what they see and what they hear too. So we're going to move on just for the sake of time. I'm going to move on to the next one, another speaking and listening one, Croakit. I've used other online recording before in the past, but just having lots of problems with advertisements or quality of recording. So, and now with mobile devices, I've pretty much stuck with Croakit now. So what is Croakit? Well, let's click on the video link and we'll find out. So click on the video link, wait for everyone to get there. Croakit essentially is an online audio recorder. Very, very simple, doesn't require any registration. So again, when everyone's ready, let's just press play here. So you go to croak.it and you'll have these upload and croak. With croak in the center there, you just click on it. And the first thing it's going to do is it's going to ask you if you want to use your microphone. Well, actually, click on it again. And you have to hit allow and then remember. So it doesn't ask you multiple times. And you hit close. And you'll notice it's counting down. It gives you 30 seconds of audio recording. And so you can pause it anytime, not pause, actually stop it. You can't just pause and keep recording. Once you press that, it stops it. And then you can press play to listen to it. Happy with it, you can proceed, but I'm not happy with it, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to press quickly on my phone on my computer, press it again to stop it, and then once you're happy with it, you can press play to listen to it. Once you're happy with it, you just hit proceed, and you can title it and add tags to it. Keep in mind, this is public, so you want to be careful with if students are sharing personal information, but for the most part, most people are not going to care two hoots about what's done. So you just press that, and then you get a link. And you can copy that link, clipboard, and you can paste it to your students. There is the option of an embed function for playing, and you'll see there's a little embed button underneath there that you can put on your website. And you can also make it public or private. So by default, it's public. We can make it private if we want. So there we go. You hit done, and it goes back to the main page. So that's Croakit. There are applications for it. You can see on the right-hand side there for your iPhone or your Android device as well too. So we're just going to close that video. I'm going to take a few comments here for you. Can everyone hear me again? Lost audio for a little bit. No, we're good? Okay. It is basically a place for students to be able to record stuff for 30 seconds, or teachers. You can give them audio to listen to as well too. And it's hosted by Croakit, and so you don't actually have to download anything. You just have them host it. I have used Vocaroo in the past, which has a lot longer. But Vocaroo, one of the problems is you click on the link to get the audio and you end up with Spamorama. So can it save audio files? Unfortunately, you cannot download much like you would with Record MP3. Speaking is very much set for amount of time, so they have to only have 30 seconds. So you're right. They're preparing for TOEFL speaking. They actually have to talk with a certain set of time. So this is 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds to talk about it. It is saved on the Croakit site, so it's always embedded, like if you put an embed function or you have the link, but unfortunately it's not something you can save, archive on your computer. I have had students post it in their TitanPad as part of their e-portfolio in this case, so they can do audio recording. So I'll give them something to talk about. I have had teachers say, well, they can practice it many times when doing it. I don't have a problem with students practicing. That's what we want them to do. We want them to get more fluency and get better at it. So I have no problem with students even reading it. Yes, great for elevator speeches and pitches. Great for that. Again, it's not so much about whether or not they got it perfect right now. This is about them working on pronunciation, working on fluency, and so I have no problem with them re-recording, and posting me the link to one. So yes, you can actually, although with that means you actually have to either play it through your speakers, if you have a computer, playing it through the speakers, but you can also, there are certain things like on a Mac, you can use Soundflower to run it through your microphone, the audio directly into your microphone. Lots of options here, lots of options. Again, for sake of time, I want to move on a little bit. So, because I want to talk about mail view. So we went from being audio only. I'm going to show you one that I tend to use a little bit more, which is mail view. Actually, I use the YouTube My Webcam function, but we're going to use mail view because no registration. So again, click on the video link. Go to the video here. What is mail view? Mail view does the same thing of recording directly using a website, but in this time we're using video and audio. So, and we've gone from a 30-second limitation now to a full 9 minutes. So, once everyone's up there, let's click on the video to start. And basically you go to mailview.com, and that view is vu.com. And then again, you have to choose that allow to access your microphone and webcam. And then once it's up, then all you have to do is just hit. You can turn on, you can change your microphone, by the way. You could change it if you had different microphones. Instead of the built-in microphone, you could use a clip-on microphone. And you could change cameras if you have a different camera you'd like to use. But other than that, that's by default. It takes the default ones. You just hit record. And you just move. And you can see the mic level. You can talk, hit pause, play it, and you can see it, watch it in real time. That's done. All you have to do is hit the share button in the bottom right there, and it will say it's processing. You say, would you like to generate a short URL? You say yes, and then you copy to the clipboard to copy the address. Once that's done, that you can share that with someone. So we're just going to take a look at that video. Now it's still processing here now, so it won't play right off. You can tell it's processing because it has that little circle in the middle like that. So it's still processing the video. It usually takes about the same amount of time that you do to record as the amount of time it takes to process typically. So just for the sake of this, I'm going to reload this page, and it will automatically start playing. So anybody who goes to that page, they can watch the video. Now, you cannot embed this. That's one downside to MailView. But the link remains active for a long time. So you can record up to 9 minutes and then have it hosted by MailView and then send to someone. So we're going to close the video here. Sure, let's just go straight to the last video. AV by AOL. On the video for that one. Link is in the chat there. AV by AOL is an online chat function that gives you video chat. So once everyone's just, I'm going to give a second here for everyone to get there. And then we'll press play. Play. What is AV by AOL? It doesn't require any registration. Think of it like Google Hangouts or something like that, but for free without any registration. They have to be 13 years of age or older. Start a video chat, and it will create a chat room specific for you with a unique name. You hit allow and remember, same as you did in the other place, and then hit close. And what we'll do is it'll get your camera and microphone ready, and then you'll start to see a preview on the right-hand side. So once that's done, you have a link there. You can copy the link, and you can share that. So I'm going to type my name up at the top, know who I am, copy the link. I can invite up to 3 people, so 4 people can be in the chat at the same time. I didn't have somebody to do this with when I did it before, so I'm going to end up chatting with myself here. So vain. Then we get in there, and now what you have is the other person would join in, and they would have 2 people in a video chat, live video chat. They can turn on and off the microphones on the left-hand side. They can freeze the video. They can leave. And so you can see me up to 4 people. And it's live and allows for talking, and you can take screenshots and all sorts of stuff. So you can see I froze my video so that I could move and then come back. Again, a really great thing for being able to have an online chat with your students. or have your students chat with each other, up to 4 people at once. So we're going to close that video off, and I'm going to skip the slide here again. Application. A lot of the stuff where this applies to is an assessment. Again, ePortfolio, I use it a lot for ePortfolios, things like that. Collaborative assignments, having students work together outside of the classroom or even inside the classroom. Teacher lessons, I can use MailView to give feedback to my students. I had a student that was away at a conference, and I was just recording videos, short videos, giving them a summary of what we had done for the day, and then posted that on Edmodo for them. You can post the link on TitanPad, whatever, so that the student can then go and see you talking to them a little summary about the day. You can give feedback on stuff. I've given audio feedback on writing assignments. So they hand me a writing assignment, and I just give audio feedback instead, so that they have to go back and fix things with me and it just saves me having to put lots of little typing things. And interactive assignments again. So the video end, for example, allows them to be able to work on an assignment interactive, collaboratively. So there's a lot of options here, a lot of different tools that you can use. I tried to give you a few functions, and here's what I would say to do. My advice in regards to using technology in the classroom is find something that you know you can use in multiple situations, something like TitanPad or audio recording or whatever. You know you can use it in lots of different situations. Get that, show your students how to use it, and use it regularly for a short little while until the students get really, really used to it. Then what you can do is then, once that is set, so I was using TitanPad in my class in Calgary, and I had them set on TitanPad. Once that's done, then I add the other tools to it. But don't try and bite off more than you can chew. Just take one thing at a time and focus on it and get used to it and get your students used to it, so they're not having to relearn a new tool every day and then forgetting how to use something. They just know how to use it. You're right. Another application is connecting students to the same level from different locations, different classes in different places of the world even. So there's lots of options there. So I do want to take a few questions. We're really close to the end here. I want to take some questions. If you have any questions, feel free to post them, comments, whatever at this point. I know I don't want to take away from Jennifer's time. I do want to put a little plug in for Jennifer. So I did catch Jennifer's 20-minute session on these EAP tools. I was at TESOL Canada, and I can highly recommend it. So make sure you stay tuned for Jennifer.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to Jennifer presenting. So yeah, as Nathan said, we'll take a few minutes now if you want to ask him any questions. And you can also take a break now if you like. We'll start Jennifer's presentation probably at 5 minutes after 11, so people can have a chance to go to the bathroom or whatever. So yeah, feel free to field any questions or ask any questions, and we'll be back around 5 after 11. Thanks.
Hey, everybody.